So, hi there and welcome to this next video where I'm going to talk about how this new economic system would play out, how we could go through the transition from, working for somebody else for money to becoming more creative, making money for ourselves and sort of bypassing the banks. Now, obviously, the banks would still have to print the money. Okay, because we can't print money ourselves. But it's not the same earning your money, earning a pittance in a salary, a wage from some company, or worse still, asking for a loan from the bank, which just enslaves you to the bank for the duration of the loan, to actually creating stuff and selling it for yourself. So the way our current economic system works is that we have the consumer again and the creator. Okay, so the consumer has two ways of earning money. Okay, one way is a wage and the other way is a loan. The problem with the wage, well, I suppose it's got the advantages, it's sort of guaranteed, but it's not very much, very little money. And then the loan, well, you might get one, you might not, but you've got to pay it back with a percentage interest. And you end up with crippling payments. Yeah? Because even if you lose your job, you've still got to pay it back, right? So what the creator does is make something, sells it for money, and lives free. Now, the only time a creator would use a bank is when, for example, let's say the creator makes something and sells it to me. So they make something, they sell it to me for money, and that money goes into their bank account. When they withdraw that money from the bank account, the only thing that happens then is that the bank gives them the money. But because that money is not issued as debt, it's theirs, you see. Although all money has been issued as debt, okay, in that sense, you personally don't have any debt against anything. You essentially have made that money because you made something, okay? Here, you're not making money. You're earning it or you're borrowing it. Here you're actually making money because you are putting something of value into the system and taking out of it money in exchange. So these two things have you indebted. This has you indebted in time and this has you indebted in money. But here you're free. This is total freedom. Because you decide how much money you're making. You decide when you're making the money. Yeah? So the new economic system would play out. In the beginning, there's gonna be a lot of overlap. All right. So in the beginning, you're gonna have people that are sort of consumer creators. Go from consumer. The next step is consumer creator. And the final step is creator and freedom. So the consumer is just a typical person that goes out to work for somebody else for a wage or asks for a loan to be able to buy stuff. Okay, the consumer creator is the person who is in the process of becoming a creator. Now, in step 2 of this course, that's what we get into. We get into the transition from being a consumer to being a consumer creator and ending up as a creator with your financial freedom. Now, at the end of step 2, you will have all of the information necessary to be able to make at least this step. And before you get to step 3, you really do want to be creating from freedom, okay? So the consumer creator what they do is they go to their 9 to 5, or if you were like me, the hospitality trade, you go to your work at night job, or your job. You go to your job, and in your spare time, you start to create. Now, in step 2, we're going to go through, there's one more section in step 1 where I'm actually going to go through briefly what it means to be a creator and how you actually go about it. Okay, but step 2 is actually the process of what you actually have to do to turn yours, to be creative. Okay, and the consumer creator, so they work in their job, they create in their spare time, maybe get up a couple of hours earlier to create, or go to bed a couple of hours later to create. This step does require sacrifice. Okay, it requires sacrifice. Sacrifice that I made, sacrifice that every other entrepreneur made, because if you want to make a change, you've got to do something differently. So if you just keep doing the same things over and over again, you're going to stay a consumer. If you want to make the transition to be creator, you've got to do this consumer creator part. You know, because to make the jump from consumer to creator, I mean, it can be done. It's not easy. So at this point, you are required to make some kind of sacrifice, and the sacrifice is usually less sleep, because you need to find other time, or it's less Netflix, or it's less going to the pub, or it's less, you know, it's giving up something that you would usually do to spend time being creative. But at the same time, it should be fun, because the creative aspect of it should be passion for you. You know, you don't start creating something you don't like. You know, the whole creative part is done with something that you enjoy. So, and then you move on to a creator. Now, what happens is, what I envision as the future is, we've got the bank here. Now, a consumer gets a wage and a loan from the bank. I know the wage doesn't come from the bank, right? But it's not a free way of earning money. So essentially it's an enslaving way of earning money. What the creator does, so that the consumer is sort of in that bank bubble, like everybody else in the world. Now, what the creator does, the creator lives free. The creator makes stuff. These are little presents, right? But this could be a course, because creation doesn't mean tables and chairs and beds and, you know, actual making physical things. You can create a course. You can create an information product. You can create, you know, you can even use something that somebody else has created. You don't even have to create something yourself. And one of the things I'm going to show you in step 2 is this. I mean, even if you don't feel particularly creative, you can use somebody else's stuff and sell that to make money. So every time you sell this, you make money. Yeah. Now, if people pay you in cash, that's fantastic, because then you don't even have to go to the bank. But a creator lives in their own little bubble, and the only time they need to use the bank is when they want to take money out of it into their own little bubble. Now, the idea is that each creator lives in their own little bubble. So here we've got creator 1, here we've got creator 2, who's creating stuff, making money, taking money out of the bank. And as creators, we trade with each other. Yeah, so I've got money, I'm creator 1, I've got money. You're creator 2, you've got money, here's creator 3. And all we do is we trade our money with each other, and we forget about the bank. All right, we can use the bank to store money in if we want, as a sort of as a storage place, but we do no business with the bank. Yeah, we live in a separate world as creators. This is why I call it creator freedom, because we don't live in the same bubble as everybody else now. We've freed ourselves in the act of turning from a consumer into a creator. We've left. This is the rat race bubble. as we could call it. We've left the rat race bubble and we're now living free. And each one of us lives in our own little bubble, but we do live in sort of a collective creator bubble. You know, I buy from you, you buy from me, we negotiate with each other, and we just leave the banks out of it. This is to think of it like this is like the caterpillar stage. This is the caterpillar stage, yeah. This is the I don't know how to draw one. But, you know, this is the metamorphosis stage, the consumer creator, and the freedom stage. Well, that's the butterfly stage. I mean, this is when you're really free. You know, so. That's a way of looking at it. This is the way I see it as happening. This is how I see it playing out. You know, people change from the caterpillar. They go through the consumer creator stage. They metamorphosize. Well, I just made that up, right? But you understand me. And they turn into these free butterflies. And we live in our own system. We create our own system. Now, of course, the more people leave the rat race and enter the creation bubble, the bigger the creative side becomes, and the less we rely on the banks. And this is how we start taking this is how we start taking power out of the hands of the banks, by transforming and becoming creators as a bog standard. And the more people that become creators, the more they will show their children to be creative. And the more people sort of leave the rat race, the more people will then learn how to live out of the rat race, if you see what I mean. And that's where I see the future going. And I'm looking for people who are actively wanting to make that change, or wanting to leave the rat race and become creative. People that are wanting to just go from because all the caterpillar does on the leaf is just eat and consume and consume and consume and consume and consume. That's all it does. It's a consuming machine. It does nothing else than get fat and consume, which is what's happening in the world. People are just consuming and getting fat. We need to metamorphosize and change into butterflies, in my opinion. And this is where I see the future. This is what I'm fighting for. And this is what I'm trying to get people to learn, okay? So that's where I see us going in the future. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a great day. Bye-bye.